Hi everyone. Welcome to this space if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. Okay, so I guess there's something about learning, or a test of study, like a test of learning. So I guess if one's been studying, even if it's a pop quiz, it's no big deal, right? Maybe checking in on previous preparation, or if there's any place that needs that. What kind of person are you in relation to timelines, to timing? Like, do you wait till the last minute? Do you do things, is it prepped way ahead? I guess it's how do you work under pressure too, just in case anything comes about that needs that kind of attention. I suppose one can feel something, or like certain thoughts come a lot when it's like we're warning ourselves that something's going to happen, or we're aware that one needs to pay attention. So I suppose in a sense one is never caught off guard. It's whether the preparation is there. A lot of Scorpio energy in this reading. Let me tune in a second. I guess we're starting up here with this weaver. You want to see her? This weaver in the sky. She's the middle of the three fates. Who talked about Capricorn? Such a simple. There's something here that's so simple, but so ornate at the same time. Like, it could be simpler. It could be more simple. One could make it that way. Let me try to explain what I'm seeing. It goes back into the timing thing. And I'm seeing a kid in school where they had a project that they were supposed to do. And they had freedom in it, right? It was kind of like, okay, these are sort of the guidelines, but it's sort of this open field, like create something, It's got to be within this field, but create something. What is this one? I guess you'll be able to hear more of this elder, or hear more of this place from spirit, which is very, the place that, sometimes spirit comes to us are those lessons, and they're not easy. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like God's like, it can be like a stern, life can be like a stern dad, And then sometimes it can be like a really soft mother. lessons. At this juncture, I see that the lesson is actually really soft. But that doesn't necessarily make it easy, because sometimes simpler is actually a lot harder. Just a minute. What skill sets do you have that you... What are some things that you do that some of the women in your family also do? Maybe this is also recognizing patterns. I'm almost seeing where there are two C's. There are two C's. And it's like where they meet, you know? That's a story, right? Where like the C's are parted and they come back together. They're like two... It's like two separate things that are made up of the same... They're two separate things, but they're made up of the same thing. But they can touch and be one, but they're very much... They're their own thing. It's like there's no way for them to overlap. It's kind of like oil and water is what I'm seeing. Like those go together if you shake it, right? If you shake it up, then it'll all stick together. But eventually things settle if it's not constantly moving. So maybe some movement is needed to see how things blend together, but then also allowing that space for it to separate again. Someone talked about this, maybe Virgo, like being able to, if you look at something, you know, if you look at something one way, it's like it all combines. If you take space and change the what's being looked, change I just keep seeing a chain. And then it was broken. Oh my goodness, this reading's like encapsulating so much other. Again, it's like the lessons, because it goes into that unleashed. Just a minute. Somebody else talked to, maybe that's it. This card was in the same position. Blow your mind. Okay. There's something here about a baptism too, or some kind of purification when it comes to water. There's a lot of pearls here also. And how are pearls created? They're created through suffering, right? This beautiful, magical, smooth, even priceless thing is created by building upon a hard thing in a positive way. You know what I mean? Like being like, okay, well, I can't just spit this out. I swallowed it. So it's kind of like, what am I going to do now? Right? And it's sort of working with what you have, I guess, working with what you have taken in. This goes back to that lesson in the beginning. You know, it's kind of like, okay, you've been in class, right? Oh, you've been working with this information, working with the situation, and then it's, I guess so, depending on how present one is in the moment, and then also understanding that that has so much to do with the future. But some people, again, it goes back into that timing where, like, in the perspective of the what is like in front of you, you want to check in with what kind of person you are. Like, do you have any focus on the future right now? Are there goals attached to that? Because sometimes just being in the present can, so interesting. I went to wipe away one little tiny drop of water and it created this big, huge one. You see that? I guess when one isn't looking at the future at all, then I suppose one is looking at the past. So maybe you want to check in with what your goals are right now. You know, maybe some of you, I don't know if you gave up on a goal or if you, this was another energy in another reading this time frame, like putting things aside. So fascinating. It's like in a, what do you call that? A conglomeration, where you take all the things, you put all the things in one pot. Making soup. I'd like to rearrange these. Give me just a moment. Maybe are some okay, so what am I seeing? Since this is tapping into all these other places and all these other people and like previous experiences, maybe you want to make sure, like, or at least ask yourself, how do I explain this? Well, if you're sacrificing, or if you're sacrificing, where the sacrifice would be more than whatever you need to do or whatever is going on, because there are useless sacrifices, you know. I see someone sacrificing their own happiness sometimes. It's like crucifying your own happiness. Okay. Let's see. Oh, magic carpet, just passing through. Oh, now the heart is in the center. Good, good. Okay, so you know when you look up to the sky and you see you see a bird flying? Like pretty high, you know, like kind of high. You see a bird flying, and then you see there's like an airplane close by, and you can kind of see them go at the same time. You know what I'm talking about? Like the bird always wins because it's real, because it naturally happens, right? The plane is trying to mimic the bird. Let's start down at the ground. I want to start low. I feel like that's a good place. It's not a bad place to be right now. Again, you have all these, because you know what, with the pig, there are judgments about the pig, right? Some people believe the swine to be dirty. Oh, that's really smart, right? But it is kind of dirty. It's kind of dirty, but it's smart. What is it? So it needs a bath. The pig needs a bath. The pig needs a bath. Something needs a bath. Yep. Look at that. Something. Okay, so that's how a way for you to ground. Do you want to see these cards? It's a way for you to ground your energy, I guess, in this time, is to purify yourself from something. When were you baptized? Did you receive like a piece of jewelry when you were baptized, or something like that is a part of that? Who was there at your baptism? I suppose this is also showing support in a spiritual space too, right? And I would say that it's almost as if some may need a little bit of help. Right, because you can't baptize yourself. You have to be we're always baptized by someone else. There has to be like witnesses to it. You know what I mean? That's what makes it real, because people, right, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Of course it does. But you technically can't say yes, because there weren't people there. Right? So that's a part of it. But I guess after that, it's kind of finding one's own comfort. Maybe this brings a way to feel more, feel less heavy. Interesting. So now the heart's at the center. That's really beautiful. This card's number 44. This is a garnet. It's a very powerful stone. Just a minute. I'm trying to see what's inside of this heart. It's not making a certain image. It's like a little out of focus, but there's a lot of feeling in it. It's like there's a whole nother world in there. There's some kind of journey here in relation to, there's like a journey that has to do with change. Let's try to go in order before, let's see. Well, two things are going two different ways. Again, they're separate, but they're like they do the same thing. In essence, they are the same thing, but they look different, and they're going, it's like they realize their separateness. Or maybe what the next step is, right? Because with the three fates, it's like one gathers. I mean, I guess it all starts with the shepherd and the lamb. But then eventually it comes to the three, which is the one who gathers, right? Actually, I suppose this is the first fate then. Because the second fate is the one who weaves. The third fate, so this is the one who gathers. This is a gathering card. You know, when going into something, I was reading about this the other day. I thought it was very interesting. Say one has a reasonable sense of confidence in themselves, right? They believe, okay, well, I've studied and I Right, the studying has been done. Good intention has been there. Then there's a higher likelihood that they will succeed versus, say, like arrogance, where one's like, oh, I'm gonna do it, like I'm not failing, like that kind of thing. I'll never fail, I'm fine, like that I don't gotta worry about it. It's like with confidence, there's always a little bit of humility, or at least a logic, right, of, well, I'll do my best. But as it is human to err, then this is natural, right? We can't always get 100% on all of the tests. No one's perfect. And maybe that's a part of what's happening in the heart here is someone understanding something, having a completely different conversation with, like, it's like the mind, the body, and the soul. It's the Trinity that's having something about that has to come together, but also separate, like to become their own things, to be able to see these different points. It's a different conversation about love, but you have to go into your heart. I would look at your 4th and your 8th house. I guess this could also be karma with family. This is also father's line. Magic, or like father's line lessons. We talked about the mother's line before, right? Now it's going into this father's line too. Okay. Again, sometimes we fly so high, right? We think we're a bird when we're in that plane. We can go way, way, way up there, all the way up, right? All so far, so high in the sky. But I guess there's always something that kind of brings us down. Like, there's something that maybe we need to have. I'm seeing someone with their feet on the ground. This is important. Right? It's you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards out of 9 that were in other readings. It's almost like this lesson in togetherness and separateness. And it's trying to find this line. It's like trying to find this really... It's like walking on the thread of the weaver. There is a purification with water, too. It's a cleansing of feelings. I really love that the heart ended up in the center. Maybe it's one of those things about, like, we talked about family a lot, like, realizing you're connected, but realizing that's not really your, like, it's not your, there's no possession about it, right? Or too much control around things to even share what you know sometimes. Because you know who understands you all the time? Spirit. Spirit understands you all the time. And the lesson to understand yourself all the time, that's a tough one too. It's impossible, again, to have 100% on the test all the time, right? We can't expect others to get it. It's like to get... How am I seeing? This is interesting. My heart does feel torn right now too. It's almost like there's a splitting of something. But it's good though, because it's making space to be able to, again, see things differently. You know, it's kind of like gathering, you know, you add it all up. And then it's washed away or like cleansed. You can do it. So you have a lot of invisible support. I do see physical support here also, but there's something where, like, it's about checking in with your own accountability of taking care of yourself emotionally. Right. The only way to float. One has to believe that they won't sink. Thank you so much. I hope this was of service. Very interesting reading. And thank you for your time, and wherever and however you extend your love and support also, please know that that is felt and appreciated. This is definitely heart, this part of your body, you know? It's your breastplate. Maybe there's a guard there that needs to come down. Please take care.